Great. So, good afternoon, everybody. Hope you're doing fine, and welcome to this webinar. I'm Michael. I'm Michael Schießl. I'm a psychologist. I'm with the I² team, and it's my honor, pleasure, and burden kind of give you an overview on our series of 4 presentations. The overall topic is relations and activations in times of Corona. This will be a little bit a mega talk from my side about these specific topics. If you want, join the other webinars, then you will get more in-depth knowledge about that. Well, I know how things are with you, but here at I², certainly this severe crisis changed so many things. It changed our work life. We are in the home office. It changed our business processes. It is connected with a lot of emotions, with fear, for instance, with uncertainty, but also with a lot of innovation. So we are kind of really full and fueled with an innovation, full packed innovation pipe. And a lot of the things we worked on before kind of are getting faster into the innovation channel. So we created tribes, for instance. We are right now in a new understanding, in a new strategy. We kind of coined that human experience. Well, we're gonna go through this upcoming webinars, relations and activations in times of Corona. I² is a marketing research company with its unique combination of psychology and technology, and it provides you the decisive insight for the real human experience. This is our strive, and we want to certainly foster your business and help you with what you need. And overall, we also have a big word. We want to create harmony between man and machine. So that's our broader mission. As every statement, since we are claiming to bring you real human experience, it's up to you. If you listen to my talk, well, is this really the case, or is it just a claim? At least it is our strive to bring you really valuable insights into human experience. And this kind of idea of human experience broadens the picture. We're coming from the understanding of user experience, brand and media experience, shopper experience. Still, we're doing that, but we think about something combining. What is behind that? And behind that, there's something mega, the human experience, and that's mega now. That's how we show our services, as said, user experience, brand and media experience, shopper experience, and that with technology and really funneled by science. So we are trying to give you scientific-based consulting, automatized solutions, and we also work with a lot of clients in integrating API services. So it's about science, streamlining, and again, this word of API services. So we started already in the last in the last millennia, I would say 1999, and we were amongst of the first movers to bringing up a new view on well, on marketing research, but to say it bigger, a new view on human beings. At that time, the marketing research industry was pretty much focused on a process I tend to coin explicit. Others like Kahneman would call that system two. You could also simply say rational or something like that. For instance, a survey is something which is taking into account these kind of more rational processes, and we came up with a second important process, implicit. I learned that word from Mazarine Banal. She was at that time teaching at Yale University, and I was there in the late 90s. So I used the word implicit. Adanya Kahneman would use the word of system one. That's how we started. I want to highlight that within our basic human experience framework, we recently renovating and innovating. I want to highlight on something I now tend to call SysZero, system zero. That is in English perception. I also use the lovely German word Berührung. Here it's the touch, it's our senses. It's about seeing and hearing, a lot about that in our work. Also about other senses. And Sys 1 is like the feeling system, the Gefühl, and Sys 2 is Think und auf Deutsch Gedanke. And we are deeply convinced that this combination really gives you an valuable insight into the human experience. And all these three levels could be assessed, could be measured, could be assessed also by technology, to understand technology and then bring harmony between man and machine. The perception system, system zero, is an extremely big system. Here, Mr. Rödler kind of tried to give it a shiny number. So 1 billion impulses are in our perception system per second, and this kind of big systems allows human being to interact with media in this way. This is from a study we conducted for Facebook to understand attention at home. And the point is, our perception system is capable of doing that, and it could follow it. And also our point is understanding these time windows. This is a priority for understanding all the other processes. Now you see here some attention videos, which should give you a feeling also on the quality of these processes. I know this is a webinar, and but I have the tendency to behave a bit like a teacher in a classroom. So forgive me that. So your little task here could be, what is this stimulus? What is it? Is it an internet page? Is it a print advertising? Is it a TV spot? What's behind that? And here's the answer. So now we saw a typical attention pattern on a web page, and consider what that might be. That's a print advertising, and consider what that is. This is a TV spot, and here the eyes follow the ball played in basketball. So this is the framework. So we have perception, methodologies, and senses. Here you see kind of the methodologies we use, and we're going to talk in our webinars about that. It's about in context, viewability, eye tracking on the side of perception. Implicit is about, for instance, facial expression tracking, reaction times, GSR. The explicit is much more well known. Ratings and interviews is also important and good to know. That's the full framework of I2's approach, where we also combine that with analyzing the desire on the one hand, which creates needs and wishes, either being more symbolic or more imaginary, depending then how people either go for things which could be called small things, like in lipstick. Lipsticks are now prevalent in the times of Corona. There's this thing called the lipstick effect. It follows a psychological stage which we call regression, and we also have big things in crisis like that. To give you a little bit of feeling how these kind of perceptual processes work together with explicit processes, another little task for you. So now you should here count how many F's you see in the text. Try to find the F's, count them. Since we are now in a Zoom meeting, everybody kind of has to do it on his own. And how many F's? Give you show you again an eye tracking video of I think it was a 21-year-old lady. She was studying psychology, so superb education in English, and she was not able in resolving the task. She had it wrong. I think she was counting 4 F's. Normally these little F's aren't seen, and so it was 6 overall, 6 F's. This has to do with a mismatch of the explicit and the implicit. In the first webinar, which will be next week, we will talk about a big project we are running at the moment. It's called the Corona Experience Center. It's a big set of data where we try to understand what's going on with Corona. If we start with the CIS0, with the touch, I think this might be an example how people got in media touch with Corona. Certainly there were all these kind of dystopic pictures like from George Clooney and other actors, but were also a lot of these kind of scientific pictures, which, for instance, showed an exponential curve. And the interesting question is what's the consequence of this? Corona is certainly a virological phenomenon, but it's also a sign phenomena. It elicits something in us, and this could be measured with implicit approaches. I want to give you a short update on the paradigm. How do implicit paradigms work? They have to do with consonant and disconsonant connections. Now, if you try it on your own, read the word. Read what is this word? Blue. Read it maybe loud at home, then you get a better feeling. Blue, red, green, yellow, blue. Now you might get a little moment of hesitation, because here the word and the color is not more connected. So you need longer. People have a longer reaction time. That's widely now used in marketing research. We do that, for instance, via smartphone. So people make fast association. Do they think something belongs to that or not? Yes or no. This is shown on this picture. And by that, we analyzed the connections of corona with adjectives and things like that. We were running a couple of study waves, two in Germany and one in the US and one in India. But here I want to focus on the German study. It was all in all 300 people with two waves. One is like 5 weeks ago, the other one quite recently. And what we saw in these studies is jetzt mehr Angst als gedacht. Today, there's much more fear than people think. If we look at big surveys, and I don't want to criticize them, also the surveys give us something very, very meaningful. For instance, the GIM, Gesellschaft für innovative Marktforschung, recently published a lovely survey where they found out that approximately 75% of Germans agree with a sentence that they will say, I'm optimistic, I'm going to overcome the crisis. So showing something explicit, positive. Here on the implicit level, we see that the fear has spread it. So if we compare the first wave with the second wave, then the fear has increased. There's a much bigger connection with that. And we think that this is very important. This is a very important message for marketing and communication. We also developed a stage model for that, which is connected with prevalent products to be bought. This is my wife and her product behavior. So she bought a lot of chocolate, and so we would analyze these phenomena within this 4-level model, where the first level is the turmoil level, which is related with a death-related stimulus. Then we came into the regression. Right now, we would say the regression is the prevalent model. It's connected with a stop, with an inner stop and with an outer stop. The outer stop comes from the state, so people aren't allowed to move in a way. They also delegate towards the state, and arousal is down again. And with organization, with more explicit information, they will go into a stage called hyperstrength. And by narrations and sense building, they will go into a stage which could be called neonormality. So this will be the topic of our first seminar, the first webinar and seminar alike next week, where I also try to show how product usage is connected with that in turmoil, regression, hyperstrength, and neonormality. Regarding the implications for communication, Telecom has done a very nice job in putting that up. They have a lovely web page where they say, wir verbinden Deutschland. They serve very well the fatherly function, the motherly function, and the sibling function, different counts, and also an artist, friend of the company, Dennis Rudolph. He draw this. He created this artwork about the 4 stages, which here again we see in a little eye tracking analysis. Hope that will help you to understand communication better. Then the next webinar will be about digital relation and activation. We will have Carina de Lopez. She's really a great speaker. Don't miss her. One of the best worldwide experts for user experience. Karina will talk about, for instance, Instagram and YouTube, how they affect online shopping. So it's here about the impact of them on e-commerce behavior, how to foster these relations. I also want to show you our our paradigm and approach. So what we basically do, we let people do what they normally do. They, like, for instance, they could navigate on a mobile phone. They have a touch point, and then later they go on an e-commerce website. Here they go on Amazon, and then we have a look how long do they look for a product, what are they doing, and they could go back to Instagram, for instance. And it's a very, very helpful approach combining viewability, SRP, and buying. Let me highlight that one of the notions is here, one of the findings is that good creation doubles the connection between contact and buying. So keep in mind, creation is extremely important for these things. Karina De Lopez will also speak about UX measurement with implicit approaches, again using a React approach. You see here on the right side, and she'll tell you how to align that, for instance, with a net promoter score and the outcome. If you have a look on current web pages, some are struggling with doing that very well. This is, I think, a negative example. We see here again a little eye tracking video. I'm going to play it again from the beginning. So this is the Berliner Sparkasse. Okay, it's not easy for them. Also, their CI is also so red, and it again kind of highlights the fear and the problems you have here. I mean, they try to give a good service, but the experience side is not positive and not therapeutical. It rather increases the more or less damaging emotions here. As said, Telekom is doing that much better. Ihr macht das Beste aus dem besten Netz. So showing a clear fatherly function within a good experience, with a good user experience. And Karina will tell you how to measure phenomena like that. And then we will go again into a webinar about this wording of system zero, which I like very much at the moment. It's from short contacts to long relations, and here's again system zero. It is about the I-square media attention benchmark, one of the biggest studies which combined the moment of perception with ad effects. It has a little bit of scary function like this. This is the dwell time distribution and relative frequencies. This shows to which time window how many people with their relative frequencies attended a time spot, for instance. In the time window between 0 and 1 second, there are most of the frequency, and then this curve is declining. Everybody would hope that this would be the predictive curve for Corona and not the other way around. I will also talk about then this regression model, which also shows the impact of the time window on recognition, on ad effects. This shows, for instance, the longer the better, but it also shows that below the time window of 2.5 seconds, the increase of the curve is very, very strong. So a real a real honeypot is there below 2.5 seconds. It's a very, very precious moment. There's also no real zero here, which you see here. And so the magical number of 2.5 seconds will appear here. No zero is done from literature, but could be also done by you. If you now follow here, for instance, the time window in a supermarket with display headers about 200 milliseconds, then these 700 milliseconds, wall video displays 2.3 seconds. Let's have a look on this time window of the display header. One could suspect that within such a short time window, there's no effect at all, but pay attention. Here we saw something for 200 milliseconds. Maybe you recognize something, not necessary, but could be that you recognize something here. Maybe you recognize something or not. I give you the answer. So the first one was it Apple. Apple might have been able to detect within this short time window. This is about a short advertising for Coke within these 2.5 seconds. So in this talk, we'll talk about these things. We'll always add some pieces from art, how to interact with System Zero, a famous picture from Ilya Repin, a Russian painter. Regardless of this painter, it shows a very rich environment with relations. So these people are related. They show emotions. They interact with their emotions. And here we have another very famous picture. This is the black square from Kazimir Malevich, 1915. This picture kind of shows the starting point of modern abstract painting, and it's more a little bit a joke about eye tracking. Since nothing is in this picture, there's no attention. The attention is fleeing. There are no relations. There are no emotions, and we also took it out of context, we have to admit. So it was not totally appropriate. So context is king. We measure with our in context approaches, and that's we're going to talk about in this talk. We're also going to talk about our new solutions for programmatic and system one testing, about viewability, eye tracking, and attention. And hope we will be able to give you real insights. Hope also this talk gave you real insights about real relations, how to build them up, how to build up these relations. In Berlin, one of our colleagues has this beautiful tattoo, another one has this beautiful tattoo, and that's it from my side. Hope you received some insights and informations, and hopefully you're a bit curious on these webinars we're going to start next week. Thank you so much for listening. Now it would be time for questions and answers.
Kannst du noch mal die Hand heben, Alex? Ah. Okay.
Good. So my dearest listeners, if there's no comment from your side, thank you so much for listening. I have here an interesting question regarding what brands should do in this time of Corona. He said that the concept of the father function and the mother function is very interesting for him, and the question refers to how closely that should be related to the product, as far as I get it. So yes, we would say related with the product, better to do it like that. Another now often seen communication strategy where you just have an outside brand communication. I have a Hohe on my mind. They kind of showed billboard, which says everybody who sees that billboard, we wouldn't like to do him like that. This time is over already. Now I think that brands have a different function. So foster on your core values, and also don't ignore the crisis. That's also for sure. Good. I think that's it. So thank you so much. Thank you for paying attention. Have a great weekend. Stay healthy. Bye bye. Good.